So, you're anti-fascist and pro-gun control? Are you really that fucking stupid? Uh, Fascism is a very ruthless ideology, as is communism, as is a whole host of other totalitarian ideologies. You see, I'm hearing a lot of people complain that the government is running concentration camps, and that this regime more specifically is running concentration camps, and yet you just want people to hand over their guns, and you don't want a gun for yourself? You really want to give fascists a monopoly on violence? Do you trust the government? Then why would you trust them with no? Then why would you trust them to have a monopoly on violence? I hope it doesn't come to a civil war. I hope it doesn't come to a revolution. I hope this is all resolved peacefully. I hope nobody has to die. However, there may come a time where we, the people, will have to fight for our own freedom. And there are those of you that say there is no way that the American people, the citizens, can beat the big, mighty United States military. How could a bunch of idiots with AR-15s ever beat the might of the United States military? Well, if you look at history, the insurgents have been beating professional armies pretty consistently since World War II. I mean, recently we had that whole experience in Afghanistan. The Taliban managed to do it, and before that it was the Viet Cong in Vietnam. The French had similar experiences in Algeria and Vietnam as well. The Israelis had another experience throughout the 80s and 90s in Lebanon. The Soviets had the same experience in Afghanistan as we did, and later on they lost in Chechnya. The Russians lost in Chechnya. Now, so I could go on, but yeah, insurgencies have been beating professional militaries pretty consistently since 1945. And so there's that. And those of you because you see, the politicians don't want you to hate, military service rifles, because that's what they're called. Assault is an action. A service rifle, they want you to, that's what they're officially called. They hate service rifles. Why? Because they know that if they ever decide to overstep their bounds, that's what the people will come after them with. They're doing it to protect themselves. They're not doing it to protect you or protect your children or whoever. Just themselves. Think about it. Did you know that rifles account for less deaths per year than blunt objects and edged weapons? I'll bet you didn't know that. Now, I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, but it would at least make some sense to me if the government was targeting handguns instead of service rifles. Because if you want to protect the children, I would say that's would be the way to go. I mean, if you're going to do shit like that, at least do it in a way that makes sense. Anyway, that's just my opinion. And as far as dealing with school shootings, I think there should be armed guards at every school, and they should be packing rifles and wearing bulging body armor. Believe me, predators look for weak targets, soft targets. turn schools into a harder target, and there will be less school shootings. And when school shootings do happen, they will end much quicker. And for those of you who point to Uvalde as an example of bad guys with guns weren't stopped by good guys with guns, yeah. That's an argument against gun control to me, because I'll explain to you why. Do you really trust these incompetent, corrupt, and cowardly police to protect you? Do you trust them to protect your children? I sure as fuck don't. So, just stop with that stupidity. And the parents were willing to go in and save their kids, but the police arrested and handcuffed some of them in Uvalde. And I mean, it's like there were cases at Stoneman Douglas High where students and teachers did more than the 4 cops out there. It wasn't just the school resource officer. There were 4 cops. And could they have stopped Nicholas Cruz when he was on his rampage? Absolutely. They may not, I'm pretty sure one of them had a rifle, but even if they did, 4 Shermans against 1 Tiger, that's a fair fight, people. And it's not the weapons. I mean, weapons are just tools. I mean, 9/11 was done without a gun. Does that mean airplanes and box cutters are inherently evil? I mean, there was also the Nice attack where a guy just got in a truck and ran over a bunch of people, killed more people than the most lethal shooting, which occurred in Las Vegas, by the way. But that wasn't done with a gun. Are all trucks, the big ass trucks, evil? No. And as far as you wanting to say that, the founding fathers didn't know about all the rifles and stuff we would have these days, I got news for you. They intended for us to be packing cannons in our barns, artillery pieces, in our fucking yards and barns and shit like that. Let me tell you something. If somebody says service rifles or belt-fed machine guns or RPGs are for hunting, tell them to, I don't care if you're pro-gun or anti-gun, just tell them they're fucking stupid. But the Second Amendment was not written so we could go hunting. It was written to protect us from a potentially tyrannical government. Because the founding fathers knew that a tyrant would appear one day. And, I'm doing this not to anger you. I'm doing this because I care about you. I want you to be safe. I don't want to see you hurt. We have to be ready, people. I think everybody should be out there getting firearms and training with them, attending some classes, And if you take your training seriously, you can become better than 90% of the military pretty quickly if you take your training seriously. And I really don't want this country's democracy to die, people. I want our republic to live on. And is there any going back to what we were before all of this happened? I don't think there is. But I'll tell you what we can do. We can make it better. I want America to become better after this. Stronger, more free, and happier. We are all in this together. And if you disagree with me, that's fine. I'm a Second Amendment absolutist, but I'm also a free speech absolutist. You can write down in the comment section, tell me what a horrible person I am, tell me how stupid I am. I am more than happy to debate. And Because you see, when people try to limit free speech, that's just a sign that they know they're wrong. Because when the government tells you you shouldn't have something, that's when you probably should get it. Because, I mean, as I hear quite frequently, when the government wants to ban books, people always put them on their reading list, and that's very wise. So when the government says you don't need a gun, that's when you need a gun. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Sic semper tyrannis, mulan labe, and don't tread on me. Thank you very much, and have a great day or night, depending on where you are and what time you're watching this. Peace, y'all.